have a 9-year-old daughter who I named after my late grandmother, Annabelle, and I'm currently pregnant. If I'm having a girl, I want to name her after my other grandmother, Rose. My sister got pregnant about 5 months before me and says she wants to name her baby Rose. I said our kids can share the name, but she says I already have Annabelle and could have named her Annabelle Rose, but passed up on the chance. So now I can't have Rose. I told her I'll look for something else, but reserve the right to use Rose if I want to. Then I fell in love with the name Rosalie. It honors my late grandmother, my boyfriend loves it, and it won't piss off my sister. A couple of weeks later, my sister gives birth and announces her daughter's name is Rosalie. I am beyond upset because now she's trying to snatch both names from me. My mom calls me to say she knew my sister was planning to do this and hopes I'm not upset because this means I can take the original name I wanted, which was Rose. But I told my mom I'm sticking with Rosalie. She said it's impractical because both Rosalies will have the same surname. My sister is a single mom and my boyfriend will be taking my last name. My sister then calls me to say I'm an inconsiderate prick and that I'm being petty. She can name her kid whatever she wants and I can't monopolize the name. I said true, so by that same logic, I can use Rosalie. I'm 21 years old and my parents are divorced. My dad cheated on my mom when I was 10 and left us to marry his coworker, Kay. In the weeks following the incident, my pregnant mother ended up miscarrying from all the stress. Kay married my dad and gave birth to my half-sister, S. I remember I always hated going to my dad's place. I remember being miserable whenever I was around them. I never had a bond with S and never considered her to be my sister. Anyways, I visited my dad until I was 15 and then moved to another country with my mom where she met P. P was an amazing guy who made my mother smile again. They ended up getting married and my mom gave birth to my twin brothers. When I moved to a new country, I cut off all contact with my dad. I was supposed to visit them every Christmas, but after my brothers were born, I felt like I finally had a real family and I chose to spend my holidays with my mom, P, and little brothers. Well, last year, S was diagnosed with advanced leukemia. I did feel sorry for her, but I was not in any way affected by the news. She finally passed away on the morning of my 21st birthday. Call me heartless, but for me, it was like some neighborhood kid getting sick. I felt guilty about my feelings because I'm very protective towards my brothers, and the mere thought of any harm coming to them makes me anxious. Now for my 21st, I had a big party. I was engaged to the love of my life, but my sister met up with me and begged me to break it off. She said I had to leave him because they were in love, and he was just too afraid to break up with me because he didn't want to hurt me or my family. When I confronted my fiancé about my stepsister's accusations, he straight up denied it. He said she's been trying to come on to him for some time and he never mentioned it because he didn't want to ruin our relationship. He begged me not to believe her and so we continued how we were. My stepsister grew resentful and made nasty comments about how I was forcing a man who didn't even love me to marry me because I had low self-esteem. A month later, I got a text from my sister. It's a video of her and my fiancé sleeping together in my bed and multiple screenshots of him telling her he loved her, how he wished she was the girl he was marrying and how he hated that I wouldn't let them be together. I was devastated and angry but decided to move in silence. I went home, grabbed all my stuff, removed all my money from my joint account, and moved in with my dad. After that, I sent all the screenshots to my family and his. He tried getting back with me multiple times, but I ended up blocking him when I found out he proposed to my sister with the same ring he gave me. I left it behind. Now they're getting married.
Storytime of how I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me with my cousin. My boyfriend and I had been together for 2.5 years. His family loved me and my family loved him and they expected us to get married. Well, last year when COVID started, we were actually in different countries, so we didn't see each other for 3 months. During those 3 months, we FaceTimed 4 times a day. And we were always texting. He happened to be quarantining in our hometown, so both of our families were in the same place. I was quarantined in a different country. One day my cousin calls me and tells me that she met a really nice guy on a dating website. I was so happy for her because she had had bad luck with guys. Every single week, her and I would catch up on the phone and she would tell me how much she liked this guy, and how amazing their dates were, and how amazing he was in bed, how sweet and considerate he was. I couldn't be happier for her. Well, when I finally get back home, my boyfriend is super distant and cold. So naturally, I called my cousin and complained. She told me to give him space. She said I should just leave him alone. And so like an idiot, I did leave him alone. One day my cousin calls me and tells me to come over for dinner. When I got there, my boyfriend's car was parked in her garage. I thought it was just her nice way of trying to get us to talk. I walk in and catch them doing the dirty on the couch. Come back for part 2.
I put my period blood in her drink for revenge. So I used to be friends with this girl, let's call her Mackenzie. I've been friends with her my whole life and we got along pretty well. One time we were joking around how we usually do and she called my mom the N-word with the hard R. I told her not to joke like that and that I didn't appreciate it. She said she didn't care and proceeded to do it anyways. I felt like slapping the crap out of her. But I ended up going home. She ended up texting me saying she was sorry, begging for my forgiveness, and I forgave, thinking people could change. So we hung out at the mall and this boy came up to me with his group of friends and asked me if he could chill with us because he thought I was cute. I agreed. Everything was fine, we were having a good time, but Mackenzie was one of those girls who typically switched up whenever boys were around because she's boy crazy and always wants to make herself look better. She brought up embarrassing moments from when I was young, such as I used to pee on my bed, and that I shaved my eyebrows off. She always did this in front of boys trying to make herself look better. I relaxed before I got hyped and just let her. One of the guys said that wasn't cool and I should stick up for myself, but I told him I'm acting calm because I have the best revenge in mind. So then after that, we said our goodbyes and went to my house. We had a good time, but then she was hungry and asked for cherry Kool-Aid. And you will not believe what happened next. Come back for part 2.
Am I the asshole for pouring my drink on someone who threw hers in my face first? I went out clubbing last night with my friends. There were 7 of us, 3 guys including me and 4 girls. My girlfriend Hannah was meant to come too, but she was feeling ill. I offered to stay in with her, but she insisted I go out and have a good time. At the club, my friends got talking to a group of women who apparently worked in finance. They were here for some kind of conference and were checking out the local places in their spare time. One of them, Lauren, started trying to chat to me and asked for my number. She was pretty, but I was not interested as I have a girlfriend. I told her this, but she then started asking for pics of Hannah. I showed her and she said that I could do so much better than that. I was very annoyed and told her to leave me alone. Later on, me and my friends were dancing and Lauren and her group came up to us and she started trying to dance with me. I gave her the brush off once again and moved away from her and she gave me a dirty look. A while later, she came back and by that point, she was very drunk. She smirked at me and threw her drink in my face. I was absolutely fuming and in response, I poured my beer on her head. She started crying and ran to the bouncer who got us all kicked out.
My family, who is extremely homophobic, ended up kicking me out and replacing me with my best friend. My family is absolutely awful when it comes to topics about the LGBTQ plus community. Literally any mention of it and they get extremely upset. Which sounds like they're suppressing something to me, but I had a friend that we can call Katie and my family absolutely adored her. Every Christmas they would buy her presents.
She would spend family movie night with us and they honestly treated her like she was the favorite daughter.
So one day I made the decision to come out and I decided to talk to Katie about it. She was literally so supportive and so respectful that I gained the confidence to talk to my family about it. Bad idea. Health striked and they immediately kicked me out of the house. So I found myself on a schedule of switching from couch to couch at different friends' houses. One particular night that was really hard for me, I decided to go visit them. I was missing them and also hopeful that they might accept me back in. And as I approached the house, my best friend was over there. She was playing games and doing family movie night with them, and so I decided to knock on the door. I burst into tears and went off on all of them.
The absolute audacity.
Later, my best friend texted me saying that she had a secret. Follow my Insta.
Storytime of how my entire virtual online class found out that I was pregnant and one of them ended up telling my mom.
So due to COVID, where I live, there is no in-person school, so everybody is virtual. So it was in my first block, and you only have to turn on your cameras for when she does attendance and then when you're talking. So I was called on and I had to answer a question, so I unmuted myself and I turned on my camera. And then when I was done, I turned off my camera and I think I forgot to mute myself back. After that, during that week, I was already having a pregnancy scare, so I FaceTimed my boyfriend and I went to go take a pregnancy test. Mind you, I don't really listen in class to begin with, so I turned the volume all the way back down because when the teacher calls on you once, she doesn't call on you again. So again, I couldn't hear anything happening in the classroom. So I was on the phone with my boyfriend. I was freaking out while I was taking a pregnancy test, and it ended up coming back positive. So I started freaking out and I started bawling my eyes out. And in my room, I was screaming, I'm pregnant, what am I gonna do? I looked back over and the session had ended. And everyone in that class is texting me like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm here for you, blah, 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 blah. So of course I start to freak out. I'm running out of time like for part 2.
This is a story of the time that I caught my neighbor's mom talking smack about me. So I don't know about you guys, but every single Wednesday in my middle school, we would have a bagel sale. And some people's parents would come in to help out. And my neighbor's mom was one of those parents. And I had a best friend at the time whose mom would also work at the bagel sales. But this best friend of mine, her mom never let us hang out with each other because she felt that I was a bad influence on her. When in reality, it was the complete opposite. She was the one that snuck the boys in her house, if you guys remember that story time.